Meditation on Yidams. When we do Guru Yoga, we meditate on those gurus in an outer way to gain this blessing. There are 3 levels of practice. The outer is behavior such as making offerings, the inner, which is making a mental commitment, and the secret, which involves changing the energies of the body. Actually, the word for blessing in Tibetan is Jinlap. It has the meaning of the power of Dharma, which gives insight, the idea of the very pith or potency of Dharma. So this word for blessing has the meaning of a transmission of Dharma. The source of that transmission or power comes from the Guru, and we meditate on the Guru through Guru Yoga. In particular, Kagyus meditate on Marpa, Milarepa, Gampopa, and the Karmapas. Thrangu Rinpoche belongs to the Kagyu lineage, and so he uses these lineage holders. Members of different sects would, of course, visualize a different set of lineage holders. They meditate on them externally to gain this closeness and receive this blessing or transmission from them. We also meditate on the Yidam. The Yidam are the source of our accomplishment. The word accomplishment is siddha in Sanskrit and nogo drub in Tibetan. The Tibetan nogo drub means to actually complete something. What one accomplishes is the fruition of one's Dharma practice. In the VAJRAYANA, there are 2 kinds of accomplishments, the general and the supreme accomplishment. The supreme accomplishment is the achievement of Buddhahood by meditating on the Yidam. On the path, we progress from stage to stage and develop the miraculous powers and the very deep, transcendent insights which come from the Yidam. This general accomplishment comes from the development of Dharma. In the beginning, we study the Dharma. In the intermediate phase, we reflect very deeply and develop a much deeper understanding of what we studied. Eventually, through meditation, we enter into the real heart or pith of the meaning of Dharma. It is through this process of the development of Dharma that Buddhahood emerges. On this way, all the general and extraordinary accomplishments emerge. The Dharma is vast because the Buddha taught 84,000 aspects of Dharma. It would be quite impossible to master all of these. Fortunately, one doesn't need to master all 84,000 aspects to attain Buddhahood. In fact, just fully mastering one aspect of what Buddha taught will lead to Buddhahood. We can practice meditation on a Yidam and gain Buddhahood because Yidam practice is a very powerful practice that combines the essence of the Dharma. So if we properly do the development stage properly and the completion stage of meditation on a particular Yidam, we can traverse the whole path of Dharma and gain all of its benefits. The Tibetan word Yidam means to commit oneself or to set one's mind on something. The syllable yi means mind, and the syllable dam means to commit. So in Yidam practice, one becomes determined to meditate on one of these Yidams and to follow this practice all the way through until attainment of enlightenment. So one vows, through this Yidam practice, I will attain the very highest state, the supreme accomplishment of Buddhahood. One sets one's mind very determinedly on the decision to gain all the beneficial powers by the practice of the Yidam meditation. These Yidams are the transcendental aspects of one's mind's commitments. So this is why they are called Yidam deities. There are many different forms of Yidams. There are Yidams particularly associated with the development of skillful means, the male aspect, Yidams particularly associated with the development of wisdom, the female aspect. There are Yidams which are peaceful in their appearance that help develop peace and great calmness. Then there are Yidams which are wrathful, which help develop the dynamism of activity to accomplish all the good one wishes to do. There are Yidams of different colors related to the kind of activity that one wants to develop. For instance, for peaceful activity, there is a white Yidam, such as Chenrisig, which is the male form of the Yidam. Jetsandroma, in Sanskrit Tara, however, is the female form of peaceful activity. Dorji Sempa, in Sanskrit Vajrasattva, is an example of the peaceful form, while Dorj Palmo, in Sanskrit Vajra Yogini, is an example of the wrathful form. So there are many different forms and appearances of the Yidam. There are so many different forms because the practitioner's aspirations and abilities are so very different from one another that one Yidam wouldn't suit everyone. So these Yidams correspond to the various needs of the different students at various stages of practice. Most people are impure. We therefore meditate on Yidams to help eliminate the various impure mental habits and conditioning we have built up over many lifetimes. We meditate on the Yidams in the development stage to carry out this purification. So in Yidam practice, there is the stage of disassociating oneself mentally with the impure images built up by letting our awareness dissolve into emptiness. From that emptiness, we begin to associate with the Yidam, which is the manifestation of the pure qualities. So through meditation of the Yidam, we condition ourselves to purity and help free ourselves from our impure conditioning. The concepts of birth and death, that is, arising, generation, and dissolution, are purified by meditation on the Yidam. In the initial stage of meditation, we let everything dissolve into emptiness, to purify our concepts of death. For birth, we meditate on the emergence from emptiness of, for example, the seed syllable of tam, and meditate on the gradual emergence of the various details of visualization. This purifies the various ideas and concepts of birth. We also have ideas about our own inferiority, and this great tendency holds us back. To purify this hesitancy, we meditate on the Yidam in space, so the Jnana Sattva aspect, the wisdom aspect, charged with the real presence, materializes in space before us. We identify with that Jnana aspect in order to overcome this identification with a very weak or inferior side of our nature. There are many different styles of meditating on the Yidams. Sometimes we visualize them above our head. Sometimes we visualize that we have become completely transformed into their form. And sometimes we visualize them in space in front of us. Generally speaking, there are many different styles of visualization because of the different needs, aspirations, and stages of development of the meditators. Even though there are many different ways of meditating on the Yidams, the dominant way of visualizing the Yidam is to visualize oneself as being transformed into the Yidam. This eliminates previous impure conditioning and helps us to learn how to relate to the purity that the Yidams represent. For example, we visualize a peaceful Yidam as being extremely beautiful and inspiring and adorned with beautiful clothes and precious ornaments and so on. In the same way, we visualize wrathful Yidams as really terrifying. If we only pretend to visualize, it becomes fabricated and we don't get the full benefit of the practice. Whereas, if we meditate with great conviction, relating to and identifying with these various forms, this will actually bring about a change in our meditation and make it much more stable and developed. There are many reasons why one meditates on Yidams. One identifies with these pure forms to free oneself from the conditioning and impurity which has been built up in the past. One visualizes the real presence of the deity to develop confidence in the existence of this purity. If one practices samatha meditation by itself, one finds it quite difficult to attain peace and insight without a lot of effort. However, visualizing and identifying with the Yidams is a very useful way of developing one's samatha meditation. If one just tries to rest one's mind, it is very hard to calm it down. Whereas, if one tries to visualize the appearance, the face, the hands, the clothing of the Yidams, one finds it easier to do. Through accustoming oneself to Yidam meditation, the power of samatha meditation will develop quite quickly. With all meditation, if one is too tense and tries too hard, one won't achieve very much. On the other extreme, if one is too relaxed, then one won't receive much benefit either. This is also true with Yidam meditation. If one is too tense, one won't be able to visualize very clearly in the development stage. If one is too relaxed, the Yidam won't appear either. However, with the development of one's power to visualize a deity, one's samatha meditation will increase. They help each other. Samatha meditation helps the visualization, and the visualization helps the samatha. Also, in the different stages of Yidam meditation, there is usually a period of time when one just rests in the peace of samatha meditation. When doing Yidam practice, one usually recites a mantra. Sometimes one recites the mantra at the same time as visualizing the Yidam. And sometimes one just recites the mantra, and still other times one just rests in meditation. There are various ways of doing Yidam practice, but the overall idea is to employ the body, speech, and mind at the same time. With the body, one sits properly. For speech, one recites the mantra, and with one's mind, one visualizes the deity or rests in absorption meditation. It is beneficial, incidentally, to do the mantra recitation because even the sound of the actual mantra supports the development of meditation. It has its own power. Great benefit also comes to the mind and the development of one's power of absorption by meditating in the development stage of Yidam practice. The actual methods for doing these practices is explained in the instructions for practicing the sadhanas, such as the medicine Buddha sadhana, the Jetsun Drolma sadhana, or the Chenrezig sadhana. The main idea is that the Yidams are the root of the accomplishment of Dhamma.